the whole process was incredibly costly in terms of time, money, energy, resources, etc. At a speaking engagement about 3 months ago, I met a really interesting startup founder, and I was the first speaker, so I went up, did my thing, sat down, and then sat down to listen to the other speakers. And the second guy that spoke was an entrepreneur from Catalonia. He created this really cool tech device to help blind people to enjoy literature more. So he started off telling us about his device, and it was a computer mouse sized device that you could run across printed text, and it would convert the printed text into raised bumps under the finger at the top of the device, in the same way that Braille is formed. And I thought, that's just genius. That's a brilliant idea. And especially when you consider that he used a copy of Harry Potter, $6 from Waterstones, as opposed to the Braille version, which was like 3 massive weighty tomes and $180, and clearly incredibly expensive and hugely restrictive in who can actually benefit from that. So this sounded like a really good idea. He proceeded to tell us about how he went out to the market, the team was built, how they raised money from the local authority of Catalonia, then raised private investment, and then how it all started to fall apart. And 3 years later, he was winding up the business. And it's like, but how? And the story is, and it's a testament to why it's really important to engage with your ideal client before you commit too much time, energy, and money. He went and asked the wrong people what they thought of his product. He went and asked the associations for the blind what they thought the product was, and of course they thought it was wonderful. Anything that would help blind people engage with literature more, fantastic. But what he'd failed to ask is it within the grasp financially of the market? What he failed to do was understand who his ideal clients were. Because latterly, after all this time and development and expense, he then discovered, or they discovered as a company, that 80% of the blind community are illiterate. They can't read, so they can't access the benefit the device would afford them. He later realized further still that the vast majority of the illiterate blind community globally are poor, and that they wouldn't be able to afford to buy the device even if they could read Braille. So had he have engaged with his market in a more meaningful way, he would have realized that there were some fundamental limitations to him accomplishing. Yes, there was a need in the small sphere that he engaged with, but on the wider scale, the need was much less. There was an inability to afford it, and he would have saved himself a lot of time and energy and money. It's still a great product. It's still in circulation in a small community, but it never had the major impact that it was intended to do. If you're at the stage of your business where you're validating an idea, go and ask the people who are your ideal clients whether they would use it, whether they would buy it, whether they can afford it. Get some meaningful user data. Ask a statistically relevant number of people before you go on that journey. There you go. That's all this time. I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.